All right, and we are live. Shooting the Shizz, DK and the Schwag, the '03 Kemper kill Leatherface, my dude, Brett Wagner. And tonight we got a good one, don't we?
Well, I hope so. I might have eaten some bad tacos earlier today, and I'm not feeling too good. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. You know, it's not that we have a hard time ever finding guests. We can find guests all the time, but you know, we like to bring on people that are doing something in the business and you know, are cool. And maybe we've met them at a convention, or they got something going on, and we're going to be at their convention in 2025. Hint, hint. But yeah, so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Ewell, co-owner of Frankencon. How are you, Rich? Richard.
I'm doing great. Yeah. Oh, Richard. Just no Rick or Ricky. That's all.
Or no, what they used to call the president back in the day, Nixon. Don't call him that.
Tricky Dick.
Yeah.
Tricky Dick.
Listen, it's so funny because I was just thinking about that. How in the world I was just thinking about this the other night because they said something about Dick Nixon. I'm like, I don't understand the Dick for Richard.
I've never
never understood that, and I don't know why I just got sidetracked by that. But Richard, how are you, buddy?
People to say.
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be a part of the show tonight. I'm glad y'all asked, and you guys have. I've seen y'all at Scarefest, so we've met a few times, and I've seen you at Smoky Mountain Fan Fest and stuff. So.
That's right. We'll talk about that in a second because I set it up for myself, so I know I kind of go on, and then we'll get into Frankencon because you're doing some good stuff.
Thanks.
Have you grew up in the Tennessee? Are you in the rural setting? Are you out in the wilderness? Or I mean, when I FaceTimed you, it looked like you were out in the woods.
I'm actually right in the middle of town, but we're about 30 minutes from Smoky Mountains. So, and like Pigeon Forge, Dollywood. If anybody's ever heard of that, I'm about an hour from there. I used to work at Dollywood a long time ago.
You're screwing up my questions now. That was question number 4. You worked at Dollywood. Now let's talk about that a little bit because I went to Dollywood a few years ago because the lawnmower company I worked for, John and Richard, the Bad Boy Mowers, we had our dealers meeting, and I want to say Branson.
Branson, yeah. We've been to Dollywood even with my company, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So Branson has Silver Dollar City, which the Hersham family owns Silver Dollar City and Dollywood and a whole bunch of other things.
And Dolly Parton's got that, it's not, it's not the Knights of the Round Table thing, but you come in with the horses and you get to eat the chicken legs and they do the whole horse show for you.
Oh, yeah. It's called the Stampede now, but.
Yes.
But I grew up, it was the Dixie Stampede, but,
Until recently. I think it was the last 2 years they changed it.
Yeah.
Old Dolly Parton's got her hand in everything. But, I went to Dollywood, and it was pretty cool. But, back then it was the Duck Call guys had their own store in there. It was giant. What are the guys with the Duck Calls? And then they became.
I never watched that show, but it's the Duck Dynasty.
Duck Dynasty. So, John, I'm at Dollywood, and I look, and I'm telling you, it was like a 10,000 square foot just Duck Dynasty thing at Dollywood, which I'm sure they were selling out. But you grew up in Tennessee. Talk a little bit about where you grew up, and tell us a little bit about where you grew up.
Yeah, I mean, so I moved here in the 1990, and I was born and raised in Tampa. My parents divorced and then kind of shuffled around, but then I've been here for, like I said, since 1990, so I consider this home. I've been back to Tampa a few times, and it's a little too crazy. I live about 25 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee, so I'm towards the Atlanta side, and it's a smaller town called Maryville, but it's not like the sticks or anything. I mean, we've grown up pretty good, and I work at the hospital here, and so I just really like it here. And me and my wife live here, and we live right in the middle of the city, and it's close to the mountains and all sorts of stuff. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the area a lot.
Yeah, Tennessee's a beautiful place. I mean, John, you're not too far from
No,
out there in Mizzou.
I think it's further than you'd think. Well, I think the one in the Franken Bride, you had the Franken Bride. That was kind of far, and I wanted to go to that one. I told you guys I did, but I wasn't going to do long journeys. Of course, that always changes. But I do want to get you got some great guests going this year. Some great ones. You've had some great ones in the past, but you do have a stacked guest list.
He's got a big stacked guest list.
Yeah.
Now, were you a fan of horror movies growing up, science fiction? What was that like? Because that'll lead into how in the hell you started a con.
I know, right? It's funny because, like, as a kid, I was a wrestling fan and a nerd. I like comic books and He-Man and all that stuff. And my brother was 10 years older than me, so I got to see some movies that he watched, like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, I think was 2 or 3 was technically my first horror movie I ever saw. So I liked movies of all kinds. So I grew up I didn't focus on one genre. I mean, I kind of liked the silly comedies more than anything growing up. But then around 2000, ironically enough, like with the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and some other things that were hitting about that time, House of a Thousand Corpses, just all those movies that were starting to hit the beginning of 2000. And then by 2005, I was all in with Devil's Rejects, and then foreign movies I was into, like Martyrs and Inside. And
ooh, yeah.
I got really crazy with that stuff. And High Tension was another one, The Descent, which ironically I'm terribly claustrophobic. So watching this Descent was a nightmare, but
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, older I get, the worse it gets.
I'm even claustrophobic. I hate when I was very lucky. I used to do some work with Rob Hall, Almost Human, who worked on Buffy and Angel and did my makeup for the Crazies. So I had a live cast. He had one of me, so he already had the mold. So every time I got to work with him, I didn't have to go under and get that stuff on. So Richard and John, when I was doing for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when we were doing the live mold, I remember all of a sudden I started getting this, and you're only breathing through your nose, you can't talk, you can barely hear. And I remember I grabbed Scott Stoddard, I think it was. I grabbed him by his shirt and I twisted his shirt like I was choking him. And he goes, "Hey, bud, we're almost done. Just give me 5 more minutes." And I was trying to think to myself, because I got claustrophobic, and I'm like, what if I ran? I know the wall's like 5 feet in front of me. What if I get up and ram my head into it? And then I think it was Scott. It might have been one of his assistants, but I don't like tight spaces. It's a fear of mine. And The Descent was really good. Part 1 was really good.
I never watched the second one.
Do not even bother. I was there. That director and all those girls did a great job acting in that movie. Folks, if you haven't watched The Descent, all 3 of us agree that that is a great movie.
Cool poster too.
Great poster. So talk about some of the, you must have gone to it. Actually, where you are located, there's a ton of conventions, within, hours and a state across and this and that. But do you remember the first convention you went to, and what was it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was Frankencon. It was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was 2001, I believe. Wow. And the stars that were there were, Dirk Benedict, the face from A-Team?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, Battlestar. Richard Keel, Jaws from James Bond. Fry's Creature from The Incredible Hulk, and Swamp Thing, Dick DeRock, He was there. And Peter Mayhew was there. So there were like
Wow.
five or six stars, at the time. But this was, I remember it was Polaroids, right? Like you got your Polaroid taken at the table, and they would give you the picture and they would sign it underneath if you wanted them to, and you could do that for $20.
The good old days.
Yeah. But that was my first con, and Adventure Con got bigger. And then now you would probably recognize the name Fanboy Expo because that's what it turned into.
But they do quite a bit of fanboy expos, right? They're all over different states.
They do Orlando. They were doing like 4, and I think they're down to 2 now. I think they do Orlando and Knoxville. I think they did do Columbus, Ohio, and Las Vegas. But I think they've skimmed back to just doing Orlando and Knoxville for now. But last year they had like 17 people from Lord of the Rings. It was insane.
Very cool.
But so anyway, so Adventure Con, I kind of got my feet wet there, but it, that was, that's what cons used to be, right? Like a few celebrities, but you were really there for the toys and the comics and all that. And now it's such a different world. But I've been to, in 2005, I got to go to San Diego Comic-Con, which was really big for like a guy from Tennessee. That was a big trek. And that was really fun. I got to meet Clive Barker there, and it was a really good time. And then I've been to Chiller Theater in New Jersey. I've been to Dragon Con, obviously, because Dragon Con's just in Atlanta. I've been to Dragon Con twice. I don't know if I'd ever go again. It's just such a commitment, and it's kind of tough to go to. You can't just like drive in for the day. You have to like be there for the week.
Oh wow, I've only heard about Dragon Con, and
Dragon Con's crazy. It's like 6 or 7 hotels now, and that's not even just the con. Like they have America's Mart, I think it's called America's Mart, and that's where the vendor room is and all that. And then everything else is spread out through the hotels and stuff. They have an enormous amount of fan panels and real like real celebrity guest panels and such. So Dragon Con's just a monster, but it's a great time, and it's a really cool. The costumes are probably the best costumes in certainly in the US, but the costumes that are there are completely insane, and they have their own parade, and Dragon Con's like its own world. So yeah. And then Scarefest, I recently found, I think I've been to 3 Scarefest, so I've gone the past 3 years.
So before how does one all of a sudden, what's your partner's name, by the way?
So me and Corey are behind it now. We started with our pal Matt, who is still part of it. He helps us MC the event and put together schedules and stuff like that. So basically how it started was me and Matt, we did a podcast, and he was a wrestler / wrestling promoter who wasn't really doing that. So he kind of was getting the itch to do an event kind of thing. So COVID happened. We did a few things, and then COVID happened. And right after COVID, so 2021, like when things were kind of letting up, he called me and said, "Hey, what about would you want to do an event with Felissa Rose?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." He's like, "Well, I got in contact with her, and that we have access to a venue down here that's like a bar / event space." And so we put together this event, an evening with Felissa Rose, and it holds like 100 people, and we sold it out. And with like 3 weeks to go, we sold this thing out. And so when we sold it out, we were like, well, let's plan another one. What can we do next? And, I kind of put my thinking cap on, but we had no idea. We had no intentions of ever really doing a convention. Like, we were just wanting to do another event.
You kind of just fell into it, huh?
kind of, because we
Well,
were
not
like,
only circumstances presented.
yeah, because we were like, I was like, well, let's do like 2 or 3 guests. And then I was like, well, if we do 2 or 3 guests, I mean, we need a bigger space. And then you get a bigger space, you have to pay for that space. And then, so you need vendors to kind of help out. And then you need people. And, it just sort of just started expanding really quickly. And I mean, it was kind of like, let's do a convention. And so Corey came into the picture for Felissa. So I had known Corey from just the podcasting world. And so with Felissa, we were like, I brought Corey in, he helped us with that. And then it was me, Corey, and Matt going forward for the first one. And then, I mean, there was no bad issues with us and Matt. It was just Matt's life was getting a little busy, and I mean, it takes a lot of time. So he just is helping us behind the scenes now, and he'll be the MC for the upcoming one. But yeah, really, I mean, I never like set out to do a convention. It was just, I mean, I'd been to a lot, I mean, over the years, and I knew kind of the ins and outs. Like I knew kind of how celebrities worked, and like I knew the vendors helped out a lot by paying that, and then you had to help the vendors by helping them sell stuff, and as far as like promotion, and you got to get people in, and it's a lot more convoluted than, I mean, people probably imagine it's hard to put on an event like that, but there really are a lot of just a lot of things.
Oh, sure. I can just imagine. Now, let's talk about the name. I mean,
Yeah.
We've worked at some, I mean, John and me have worked some cool cons. There's some, the Cryptic Cons, the Scare Fests, Monster Palooza. Frankencon's a great name.
Yeah.
Did you guys have, give us some of the other names that might have not made it?
Oh, gosh. Because there were some. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No, but because it's a great question. But so Frankencon was basically the first name I came up with, and I thought to myself, like, I like hokey stuff, so I thought Frankencon was a little hokey for 2 other people to agree to it. So I came up with like a few other ones. But yeah, I can't. It's been so long since we've done it. But we had like 6 names. Some of them were so long too. It was like 10 syllables, and it's like you can't. It's got to be something snappy,
I know what your plan was, Richard. You had the idea for Frankencon. You threw out 6 other ideas, knowing they'd say no. Went back to Frankencon, so you get what you initially wanted.
It is kind of funny that way, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You kind of automatically, I mean, if you know what a con is, then you probably can figure out that Frankencon is a horror themed convention, just because of Frankenstein.
Yeah, you definitely.
So, but it is amazing how many people I meet and they don't really understand what a con is. Like, I mean, we're in 2024 and there's still people out there that it's very hard to describe what we do.
And it's hard to tell, explain the experience that you get when you go for the first time to a con.
Yeah, because people think it's like, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. You can spend a lot of money at these cons. And I mean, there's a lot to do and a lot to see, but really just going to a con, looking around. I mean, it is great to buy stuff, and I mean, we appreciate everybody that does, but I don't think that should hinder the experience of going to a con. I mean, I think just going in, if you can just afford a ticket, you can walk around for a day. I mean, especially like at a con like ours, or like Scarefest that does like panels, and they don't charge for those panels. So like, so you can spend all day there. I mean, we try to pack activities throughout each day that we have. So, so yeah, but anyway, so that's where the Frankencon thing is. And my from the get-go, my thing was, and every year it's a different kind of Frankencon. So like the second year was Bride of Frankencon. And then, you know, everybody's joke was, oh, is it going to be Son of Frankencon? And we were actually saving that for something else, but that likely won't happen. But then we found out that it kind of confused people, that they
Sure.
thought that it was either a different con ran by different people, or that we did 2 different cons. So for year 3, we're just Frankencon, and going forward we'll just be Frankencon.
Makes sense. You're better off.
Yeah, it breaks my heart, because that's kind of the cheesy part I love, right? Like, because year 3 was going to be Frankencon 3D, because like a lot of horror part 3s were 3D
Jason
back in the
3D.
day, and I was going to try to get some people from, you know, some of the 3D movies. That might have been tough, but, you know, probably could have got a couple. But and then, I mean, I had all sorts of crazy names. I mean, you could do House of Frankencon, you know.
There's a lot of options.
Yeah.
But people get easily confused. They do.
Oh, so that is the other thing that I have learned from a convention, is you have to be very, very specific when you're describing things and putting things on websites, and you want to kind of shield as many questions as possible. Of course, we don't, you know, I mean, our fan base, our kind of con is much smaller than a scare fest or anything like that. So we don't get, we do get a lot of questions, but it's not anything that we can't handle. But I try to put everything on the website, and try to be clear when we're selling tickets and stuff like that. And we try to be fair too, which can be hard sometimes.
Oh, it's not. Listen, you know, me and John have done enough of these things over the last couple of years that, you know, we understand how hard it can be. I mean, even a tiny one versus, you know, a scare fest where there's 15, 18,000 people in there.
Yeah,
you're good. You know, you're friends, because I remember last year, Adrian was at Frankencon.
Yeah,
was doing some live stuff from Frankencon. So
yeah.
before you started, did you become friends with those guys before you started yours?
Yeah. So Corey is really good about, like, building a community and trying to structure it, and things like that. So that's always been his thing, is like, you know, be fair to people, and let's talk to people and make friends and stuff like that. So he had reached out to a couple of conventions, and Scarefest was one of those. So before we even did one, we got in contact with them, and Adrian, we had like 2 meetings with her before, 2 or 3 probably, and lots of text messages before the first year. And then, I mean, they've just all become friends. I mean, Brandon's awesome, Wes. So now, yeah, they come to our con, we go to theirs. We were at Vet City, or I was at Vet City in Kentucky, and Brandon and Wes was there, and got to hang out with them. And it just feels like they're really good people, and they're really good friends, and they've really helped us out. Like, we couldn't have gotten this far without, like, their advice and their willingness to share. And I mean, because we have found that most people that run cons are cool, but there are a few that, you know, have ulterior motives. So you just gotta, it's just a tricky world. You kind of gotta, you know, just understand.
Do tell, Richard.
You know.
Do tell. No, don't tell.
I won't tell any names, but
I know
it's just like anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Sure.
I mean, you just have to be, you know, some people have good intentions and some people don't, and some people don't realize that they have bad intentions. So it is what it is. But for the most part, we've had like Metrothemcon's been really cool to us. They're in Chattanooga. Scarefest, Monster-Rama is in Atlanta, and they've been really nice to us. I've never been there. Corey goes to that one. I want to go this year. But Monster-Rama is kind of like us too, where they do like Son of Monster-Rama, and they focus on like even pre like 80s and 70s. Like, they go back, you know. I mean, like they do like Jason and the Argonauts or whatever, and
Oh.
just
Not a bad deal. All those people are almost gone now.
Yeah, I mean, so you're just trying to, you just try to get the people you can.
So, what have you learned from the first con to your third one coming up shortly? What has been the big difference?
I think, well, I mean, I never really, we didn't really know what we were. I mean, half time I still don't know what I'm doing in life, but for the first year, it was only a Saturday. It was only a 1-day con. And so we had Joe Bob and Darcy. That was Corey. That was Corey's get. Like, he was like, we got to get Joe Bob and Darcy, and we were able to get them. And their line was insane all day long. A constant line wrapped through our vendor hall, which turned out to be a good thing. It sounds like a nightmare, but actually all the vendors thanked us after the day because the people just bought stuff while they waited. So it worked out. Sometimes stuff like that doesn't work out. But we also, the first year, I mean, we had a Nightmare 2 reunion with Mark Patton, Kim Myers, and Jack Shoulder. We had Mick Strawn and Brian Bremer, John Dugan. And so we never really meant it to get, it kind of spiraled out of control. The guest list sort of did the first year. So then the second year, we just thought, well, let's go bigger. So we went even bigger the second year on purpose. And I mean, I just think from the first year to the third year, it's like, I guess the thing I've learned the most is like some bigger, if you're more concise of what you want to do, it's more important than just going crazy and going big, as big as you can, because if you go too big, you can have problems. And we're in a hotel, so we have a limited amount of space, but it's a gorgeous hotel. It's they've got 2 ballrooms that we use, and their lobby is huge, and their hallway is huge. So I mean, we're gonna have the Dragula, a replica of the Dragula there this year. So
yeah, I saw that. So Haunted, who's helping you sponsor that?
So
Haunted Pyramid.
So Haunted Pyramid is somebody that we were introduced to. That's a friend of ours. Mr. Unhappy is his name. He's an evil Ronald McDonald, if you've ever seen.
I have.
So yeah, he introduced us to them. So we've just met people throughout the years and months that it just works out. We can help them out, they can help us out.
That's a good thing. I signed there 2 years ago at Haunted Pyramids.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so I got, in fact, your boy, the evil Ronald McDonald, gave me a ride to the airport the next day.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, and he's a big dude, too. So there's 2 big crazy guys in the car going to the airport.
Yes, that is true.
You got crazy McDonald.
The other thing that happened in the second year was we from the first year we met Mark and Deb from Orbit DVD, and they're a physical media shop in Asheville, North Carolina. And so we met them. They vended it the first year, and they loved it. It was their first convention they'd ever set up at. They had never set up at a convention before. So, so the second year, I approached them with a sponsorship idea. So for the past 2 years, it's Orbit DVD presents.
Your title sponsor.
Yeah. So it works out. Not many cons do that kind of thing. Like as far as on the thing, but I love Mark, and I love that store, and I love physical media. So, and what I love about his store too is, I mean, he's major shipping, so you don't have to live there. You can go on the website and you can just order everything off the website. So,
Yeah, I might have to look into that. I know they got some good stuff. I keep seeing their name
so
everywhere.
good. It's so they're so nice. Like they're just really really cool people. So they're again just meeting cool people has been a really kind of blessing that I didn't think would happen. It's not that I thought I was just going to meet a bunch of jerks, but I didn't think I would meet like even some of the attendees. I mean, they're just real true friends, like, and they're cool and they have the same interests as I do. So
Not like those two jerks behind you on the wall there, Tom Matthews and CJ Graham.
Those guys.
So yeah, those were the Bride of Frankencon posters, and so we make banners for everybody, all the celebrities, and then most of the time we have them sign them, and then we'll give them away or obviously keep them. But Tom didn't sign this one. I didn't get him to sign it before I took it down, but CJ signed it right there.
All right, ship that to me. Ship that to me. If I feel like giving, I'll go to Tom's house. I'll get it signed for you. He's like 30 minutes from me. Two of the nicest guys in the business. Me and John are gonna. Oh yeah.
Yeah. CJ and I mean Tom both. They were wonderful. I mean CJ actually, he kind of helped us out because he saw we were new and like he just gave us a lot of tips and he was just very, very nice.
We're going to be with CJ in July at Kansas City Crypticon.
Oh, Crypticon.
So, and I'm going to be with Tom Matthews at a few different stops this year. We're going to be in Arizona. We're going to be in the Washington State, Spokane area together. So, there's a reason, and we talk about this a lot, but there's a reason a lot of people, the Felissa Rose, the Bill Mosleys, the Tom Matthews, the CJ Grahams, that they get booked everywhere. They come because they're really good with the fans. They're very easy with the promoters because, you don't have to drop names. Hopefully over the last 3 years, you've had very, easy guests come in where they haven't been pains in the ass.
Yeah, honestly, we've been blessed. I mean, you have to put out a few fires, but we've never had any guest that was mean to us or anything like that. What makes our con kind of nice, and I mean, I kind of did this purposefully, is that the airport is right. I mean, like literally right next to the hotel, so you just walk over to the hotel when you get off your plane.
Oh wow.
So
that's pretty
there's
easy.
No car ride or anything, I mean, I kept it, I'm about 25 minutes from Knoxville, but I mean, I love Maryville, and we have a small town called Alcoa. They're kind of Maryville and Alcoa, kind of the two. They're kind of the same. But the hotel is in Alcoa, and so it was just very purposeful that I went there first to look at the ballrooms because I had never been in there, and it just worked out. And I really loved the place, and I wanted to keep it as local as I could, and honestly, I wanted it easy, so I knew with the airport there, we wouldn't have to deal with some of the things, that other, I don't want a guest to sit in a car for an hour.
Oh, sure. It sometimes happens, though. But let's talk about 2024. He's got the guest list going. I mean, right off the bat, you got the Scream Queens coming in. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Linnea Quigley, Brink Stevens, and Michelle Bauer. And again, this was Corey. Like, he was just adamant about having those three. Obviously, I've seen Linnea. I met Linnea about 10 or 12 years ago, and she was awesome to me. And she's great at cons. I've never met Brink or Michelle, but they seem wonderful, and I can't wait for them to be at the show. Ginger Lynn Allen, obviously, can know her from The Devil's Rejects and a lot of other movies. Brian Bremer,
good ones out there.
Brian Bremer has just become a true friend of ours. I mean, I could text him right now and he'd probably respond. Like, he's just a good guy, and we love having him. He came to the first con, and he wasn't somebody that we seeked out at first because it was just an agent we were working with. And then we found out he was in Pumpkinhead, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 5, and Society, among other things. But just those three things alone, I mean, that's great. And he's been at every Frankencon, and he's always invited to Frankencon. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, he is. Me and Beatrice had him on the show, and I've met him at a few cons, and he's great. He's such a good dude.
Well, he was very stoked because at Scarefest, John, you had a couple busts and stuff for him.
Oh yeah, well he put the Pumpkinhead by Lonnie McCullum on there, and the year before, Lance Henriksen was there as well. So I got a bunch of Pumpkinhead stuff, and he was really new to cons when he went to Scarefest. I think it was one of his first ones, and he was just blown away by the whole experience, especially Scarefest because it's Scarefest, and sitting next to Lance, that was really, really cool for him. But he'd come to the table. He really liked the stuff we had. And then this year I put some stuff on the table. He even put me in his documentary he was shooting there, which is
that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brian. So Brian was at Archon, and from what I know, he met Scarefest there, and they kind of hooked up that way. And so that was, I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, they probably knew who he was, obviously, but that's the other cool thing about going to cons is you can make connections, right? No matter if you're a vendor, an attendee, or a guest.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, let's get back into it. Honey, the Mail Girl is going to be there, which is great. But you also got a little 50th anniversary of Texas Chainsaw Massacre going on.
That's right. John Dugan, Alan Danziger, and William Vale. And we're also screening the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Saturday night, and they'll do a little intro for that and do a little Q&A before the movie. But and that movie is included in our in the Frankencon, any Frankencon ticket level. That's included. We don't. All of our after-hour events are included in the ticket, and we're not charging. And it's not VIP or anything. So also Ken Segoes, we got, he was a recent addition from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and 4.
I just saw him a couple weekends ago. We did, Michael Toth did some Blacklight skateboard decks that you'll see there. They're really cool.
Yeah, he seems awesome. He's been very nice to us. Frank Saladino is somebody that kind of came out of nowhere. So he's only done one other con, and it was in 2009. And he's from Sleepaway Camp. If you know that classic crop top and short shorts. So he's making an appearance for us. Ty Olson is from Supernatural and is involved in our Thanksgiving reunion. So Eli Ross Thanksgiving from last year, which I just watched tonight again. Ty Olson was Mitch. We got Alex Armbruster, who portrayed John Carver when he was in costume, and Gabriel Davenport's first convention, he played Scuba. So yeah, and then
two good pals, Mick Strawn and Nick Benson, and Tam Glenn.
So I call Mick Strawn the Frankencon's crazy uncle. And
that is Mick.
I love Mick so much. And then Nick is kind of a recent addition too. So we have
a little society reunion with Brian Bremer.
So society reunion and a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 reunion with Ken. So. And we'll be doing a scene breakdown of Ken Sego's junkyard scene and the roach scene. So what we do is we show the scene on the screen, and the celebrities talk over it, kind of give you a live commentary of what was happening on set that day or whatever they can remember, anything like that. And then Tamara Glenn, courtesy
Halloween
of Tall
5.
Man Toys, Halloween 5 and Terrifier 2. She'll be there. And Bradley Fowler is a writer and producer of a crazy horror comedy from last year called Slaughterhouse.
Yes.
And it's great. It's a killer sloth. The movie's only PG-13, but it's great. It is a really fun movie. And then the replica of the Dracula. And then we have Grim Wreath. I don't know if y'all are familiar with her, but Sarah Claxton. She has the Sydney the Scream Jeep. So this Jeep is wrapped in Ghostface stuff. That'll be sitting out front. And then she'll be inside meeting fans. And then John Wayne Comunale is amazing. He's a great author. He's a really cool guy. And he'll be performing some music on Saturday night. And then we've connected with a young up-and-comer special effects artist, Kaylee Guerrero, if that name sounds familiar. She is the youngest daughter of Eddie Guerrero, the famous wrestler.
Wow.
But she contacted us, and she wants to start doing the con circus. She's a content creator and all that. So, and she loves talking to fans of her dad. So I'm really stoked for that.
Here's my 6 degrees of separation. Chavo Guerrero gave me a concussion outside of the ring one time.
What did you do wrong, Jet? What did you do?
I was, the big Schwag, the heel manager, and I might have tripped him. I forget who we were. I think I was. Who was I managing? Might have been Samoa Joe. I forget who it was, but I remember I took a drop kick. He does that missile drop kick through the ropes, and I didn't get fully turned around, and I hit my head on the barricade. And then I remember they're both punching each other, looking over at me because I got another spot to do, and I'm so out of it. I think they finally realized he doesn't even know where he is. But that's great, Eddie Guerrero, one of the legends, in my opinion, top 10 wrestler of all time.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
It's hard to argue. One of the greats. You will see there's a match he does, John. There's a match where he does his frog splash, dislocates his elbow doing it, has the presence of mind to still not roll out, kind of pulls the guy on top of him to for the 1, 2, 3. And then they got to deal with his elbow. But, man, one of the great wrestlers. Well, that's pretty cool. Hey, what a great lineup, Richard. You got a great lineup. That is.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah,
really good people.
You got the vendors going on. Not only do you have that, it's, you got bands, you got costume contests, of course, all the vendors, photo ops, which are really important with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a really good show going on, man. We're real happy for you.
I appreciate it. We have like 60 vendors, so it's not, just guests or anything. And then we have a ton of stuff. We even have a puppet show. Who has a puppet show? We do.
A horror puppet show, right?
Yeah. It's so we did it. We did this last year, and it turned out to be really awesome. And these people were really funny. And so I invited them back, but they're going to do an R-rated puppet show on Friday night, and then a family-friendly version on Saturday.
Travis Kuhn, our good buddy of ours, who is a big Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy.
Met him at a
con. That's right, just worked with John, helped John out at the Days of the Dead Chicago.
He's coming on the road with me. He's up. I got 8 cons booked. From May,
but hopefully, Travis is going to come since he goes to Scarefest. I mean, I listen, Richard, Travis Kuhn, you better be at Frankencon. That's all I got to say.
Hey, so that's the other cool thing, setting up the first 2 years at Scarefest, because last year I volunteered for Scarefest, but the first 2 years we had a table there, and so we have a ton of Scarefest, people from Kentucky and just all sorts of stuff. And like I said, I mean, like Brandon will be there, Adrian will be there, Wes will be there. Like they all come, and
they're the best. They really are.
So Wes is supposed to do the cosplay of the Frank Saladino, the crop top. That was part of his after he had his heart issue, and he's lost a ton of weight. Looks great, and that's been his goal is to do that cosplay.
So. Didn't even get that. Scarefest didn't even get that. Frankencon's getting that. That's pretty cool.
Now I will tell you that maybe we can't. I did a pop up with Frank and Felissa Rose in December in New Jersey. Oh, cool. So, guy's still in great shape, can still fit in his outfit. It's pretty impressive. So I had to go watch the movie again because I was sitting across from him for a whole day, Really nice guy. That's a great because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't go do stuff. So it's going to be it's a great. If you're a big fan, if you need that autograph,
yeah, I mean, he's a good
worth
autograph. Yeah, he's an important autograph. Like he's one of the main people that you can't really get easily. So it's a great opportunity. He's been so nice to us too. Absolutely.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, honestly, all the people we work with, I've never really had issues with anybody. I mean, they've all been very nice, and we tried. The thing is, you try to put out there what you want back. So you try to be nice, and you try to do the best you can. And if you show people that you're trying, that sometimes even if you can't do what you want to, or at least they know you're trying, and most people will give you a break if they need to.
Well, I agree. So listen, next year, the 40th anniversary of the Return of the Living Dead, the 15th anniversary of the Crazies.
Oh, the Crazies, yeah.
That I was in. So I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. Tom Matthews, Miguel Nunez, and some of these people might have to come back along with the big Schwag because
Miguel is somebody I would love to have. Yeah, I've never met him, but
I think I got his number. He gave it to me, so I could probably get you that if it's something you're interested in reaching out to.
That's cool.
I don't like to give away numbers, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind if he's getting invited as a guest.
I mean, I think we have a couple connections via agents, but yeah. I just want him. I just want him for the Street Fight because he was in Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What about kicking it old school?
Well, come on, Miguel Nunez has been in there. Fright Night 2? No. Yeah?
Joanna Man. That dude don't age either.
Let's get him on he's not aging. He's doing pretty good. So listen, if Richard, if folks want to go to this, it's going to be May 10th and 11th.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the Hilton Knoxville Airport, Alcoa, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Where can they go to get some tickets, and where can they go look? And maybe we should. What do you think about giving away 2 tickets right now?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I got 2. Actually, let's see where I got 2 tickets right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Let me see. Who do we have in our room that's close enough?
We might have to post it. Like if you rewatch it and you leave a comment, because we're looking for people that can make it into Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's pretty limited when you're got people in Canada.
Okay.
Everywhere.
So what we'll do, Richard, is John will
if I knew. I would have
on the Doom. I just threw him on the spot on the Doomsday's Crypt page. Folks, if you are near Tennessee in May 10th and 11th, would like to get a pair of free tickets from Richard Ewell
for both days.
I was just thinking for an hour.
2025 or DK and the Schwag 2025 because I'll load up the trailer and go then there.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick, John, Richard got a couple cool new little figures. Are they close?
Oh yeah, I actually did bring them up here. I got for my Thanksgiving reunion, I've got John Carver, Toonie Terrors, John Carver.
Yeah,
and then I got the. So I have the other one. I think I took them. I have the ultimate. I had the ultimate John Carver. They made 3 John Carvers already. So they made the Toonie Terror one. They made this cloth version.
Is that a NECA?
Yeah, they're all NECA, and this is a window, and then they have the ultimate John Carver that has the flap like the Leatherface and all the others. But yeah, I got those those came from NECA. I had pre-ordered them, and they weren't supposed to get done. See, I'm even a Funko Pop. See?
Oh, it's so funny you do that. I got one done.
My sister-in-law got that for me for Christmas. But yeah, and we've got we actually have 3 toy vendors coming, and they'll have those John Carver figures.
So that's me and
Oh.
Lola, my dog.
Oh yeah. My 2 cats are in here. Yeah, they're in
Schwag
here.
and Lola. So what's the website once again, Richard?
All right, FrankenconTN.com and FrankenconTN on socials. So that's Frankencon, Tennessee. Frankencon TN on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and the website. So, follow us.
No, sorry. Do you have anything coming up before your thing, or are you just laying low until the con?
Well, it's funny because I'm not necessarily Frankencon related, but I'm working with this venue down the street, and we're bringing in Samantha Newark for a night. So for Jim and the Hologram. So that's April 27th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm putting that on. I'm helping them put that on. But really, we're like 36 days until Frankencon. So we're just trying to, make banners, buy any flights we need to, all that stuff,
And thank you very much. Speaking of banners, folks, Richard and his on the side as well. He just made me a banner, John, because I put that out that I needed a couple new banners. So
Nice.
a couple people stepped up to the plate, but Richard did a nice banner for me, which we will unveil shortly when it gets here.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So, folks,
no problem. It was fun. I love making them. I mean, I love designing them. I didn't know how to do anything really before Frankencon, but then I was kind of thrust into making banners and doing the website and all that.
Fire.
So that's kind of how I learned, I think, and I do best under pressure. So I'm kind of lazy, but if I have to do something, I'll do it.
You've done good. We appreciate you. You're a good guy. We wish you the best with the conventions.
Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all.
I know we'll see you. I'll see you at. We'll see you both at Scarefest this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And John, what do you got going on besides this weekend? You're coming to California.
Weekend, going to see my sister and my nieces, and then on Sunday I'm going to see a couple Leatherfaces, Mark Burnham and this other guy. Brett.
Yeah.
That'll be
gonna
fun. And we in a few weeks after, we got our good friend Michael Bailey Smith, Super Freddy, Pluto.
Super
my gosh.
Freddy.
His wedding. Now listen, Richard, we can put in a good word for you for number 4 next year with Michael Bailey Smith, one of the good guys in the business.
Yeah, he seems amazing. I didn't get to meet him, but he was at Days of the Dead a year or 2 ago, and Corey got me his autograph, and Corey said he was really nice.
Great guy.
Yeah.
It's such a nice guy that me and John are going to go to his wedding with his wife, soon-to-be Paige.
Trophy with him. His bloodiest beatdown that he won for Pluto. He brings that with him. That thing's pretty sweet with the chainsaw blade.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, John. Hey, Richard, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
For
Thank you,
hanging out with
guys.
us.
I appreciate you supporting the con, and we'll try to get you over here. Hopefully year 4 will be in the books, and we'll be able to make that happen.
It will be in the books. And thank you very much for coming on and helping us out here and doing an interview. John?
Yeah, other than this, I mean, we're talking April, it's already busy, and then starting May, we start Carolina Fear Fest, and then we are busy, other than August, all the way till November. So
that's right, Carolina Fear Fest with Matt Burns. Great show, folks. They stepped up to the plate this year. They got some big time people coming in. It's going to be a good show. But we're excited for you, Richard, and all the folks. And once again, folks, take a look at the page. John will put up a little thing.
Wants to win some tickets, and you guys are in Tennessee, in the area, or you want to drive there, you let us know. You put. We'll figure it out. I say Wagner 2025. We'll put him on the spot. No, we'll do Franken Con. We'll just say, I want Franken Con.
Yeah. All right, Richard. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, John. I'll see you Sunday.
All right. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time. I got a show tomorrow with Beatrice. I forgot. Me and Beatrice are going. We're rehashing stuff. Beatrice Bupley, Amanda Kruger. We're doing just a live show. We said, we've had so much going on. We're going to catch up, talk about things we're doing, and go from there.
Uh-oh. Look at Travis.
Wagner already won tickets. Travis, hit us up. What 2 tickets? All right, Travis, you're the big winner.
Yeah.
I'll
I
hit
mean,
you
he's
up.
close enough. He's a big supporter of Scarefest, and he's in the area. So,
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's great.
all right, guys.
Peace out.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.